So what is your impression of animal awareness?
Mm.
How different is it from human? Can you do what you do with humans that you do with animals?
Animal awareness, well, non-human animal awareness, is so much more open and unrestricted than human awareness or human consciousness, I find, on an individual level. So doing telepathic communication with other humans, yes, is possible, but there's so much mental stuff to wade through to get to the real, the real underlying data. For most of us humans, it's a lifetime's journey to find out who we really are. And animals and non-animals, plants as well, they're just so authentically being who they are. They don't have the same barriers that we humans have to showing that. They don't feel shy or self-conscious about it. They just are self, and they're radiating that, like it or leave it. So communicating with humans telepathically is a little more difficult. You've got to get through more layers of the masks and the persona to get to the real deal.
Do animals project a future? I've always been curious what they do. Is that something unique to humans?
Animals don't tend to project a future, but they can have a current concern about a future based on past experiences. So animals definitely have a linear thread running and cognition of linear time and certainly cause and effect. This is very obvious in cases where animals have been through traumas or separation anxiety, if we look at the pet situation. And an animal who's been through a very traumatic separation or abandonment will be the kind of animal who would sit and pine or wait at the garden gate for hours when a person is out, for example. And that's because they are concerned that the person won't come back. So they can cognize future scenarios. In my work with animal-human conflict, a lot of the time I'm involved with negotiating with animals. And to do that, I have to project to them the future consequences of their actions or of different scenarios, and then see if they agree to the most helpful and most healthy scenario instead. Same situation applies in warning animals about danger, and I use this a lot with wildlife who are being poached or hunted, or even my own cats on the nearby road in which there's a lot of traffic. So if I project the quantum holograph or the mental image of what might happen if my cats go out onto a road, and give them the strong mental image of big truck tires running over them and feelings of pain, they get that. They get that possible future scenario and then avoid the road.
Wow, that must be an amazing feeling to relate to another species like that.
It's very rewarding when the animals agree to shift current behavior based on their understanding of a future outcome. And I have so many human clients find that behavioral issues can right away be sorted out when the animal understands the possible consequences and really gets it and chooses to shift. It takes away the need for all the more traditional methods of behavior modification therapies or positive reinforcement. In one communication, you can just right away clear up any misunderstandings or explain the consequences of something, and the animal can make an informed choice. And if they're in agreement, just right away change their behavior. As long as their needs that are driving their behavior can still be met in some healthy way.
So what do you think it's going to take for humanity to actually alter their view of the world? Because it seems like you say, we're so separated from even this concept that most people will be skeptical of it. How do you think that humanity is going to be able to survive what we're going through right now, when it seems like we're coming to the crunch in so many ways?
In modern times, most humans can't even relate to the concept of telepathic communication. For humanity to change things, for humanity to survive the current times, we really need to reconnect with non-humans, not as a concept, not sitting behind computer screens, not in virtual ways, but ironically to really get back in a five-sensory felt relationship with nature. And once we're back in direct relationship on the five-sensory level, what arises is the so-called sixth sense. What arises is a repatterning of how our minds are working. What arises is an expanded state of being. And I really think that deep nature connection is the only way for us to again know and therefore understand and therefore care about the other beings that all of our actions affect on a daily basis. what we're pouring down our drains at home and what packaging we're buying when we buy our food products, even all of these are directly affecting generations of other species. But conceptually, even climate change and so on remains concepts and remains easy for people to be somewhat disconnected when things are all about statistics and data and phenomena. I encourage every single person to get out there, take off your shoes, get out there, whether it's in your yard with a cup of tea, feet on the ground, 20 minutes a day, just get out there. And another thing that we can all do as adults is to just encourage one child in our life. If we have one child in our life, even only occasionally, to encourage their intuition. If we can be the one adult who encourages their intuition and supports and validates that child's ways of knowing things that go beyond 5 sensory explanation, then we're encouraging our future generations of humans as well to have new ways of relating and being, and to trust that there are very powerful ways to come by information and to interact with others that have nothing at all to do with the information technology side of things.
Do you just take a little bit of a sideways turn here? Do you think that there is? Do you feel that there is an intelligent design, a higher power, or God, whatever you want to refer to it? Is there? Do you think there is something directing our actions?
I certainly do believe in a greater creative force, or a God, or something that does animate everything. And I'm not really a predeterminist. I don't believe that the script is laid out and this is how things are just going to happen. But I believe that there is some fantastic orchestra conductor, and to the extent that the different parts of the orchestra can get along and play in harmony, well, the result will be a beautiful symphony, or a rather chaotic premature end to the concert.
Do you think that there is purpose? That there is an overall purpose, an individual purpose?
I certainly do believe in individual purpose. I believe that every soul has incarnated in its current form as whatever species, in whatever way would be the best vehicle for that soul to achieve its learnings in this lifetime. I certainly do believe that. And I think that therefore, in some aggregate way, there is a common purpose, whether we're talking about groups or species consciousness or even just globally. At the end of the day, obviously, our sun and our solar system is eventually going to fry this planet. So even in my days in conservation, the point is not the end goal. The point is how and who we're being along the way. And that to me is the purpose. The purpose is consciousness, and it's for us to play our part. Not for us to lead the way by any means. If anything, we're lagging behind the other species, in my opinion. But it's for us to play our part in the best way possible.
Well, it seems almost like we are the main characters on this stage, just simply because we seem to have an effect on everything else so dramatically.
We really are.
Do you ever feel despair? Do you ever feel that sense of despair? In my early days with animal communication, I was quite confronted emotionally by the state of the nation, let's say, the state of the animal nations. And because as a professional empath, I am required to fully know and feel within myself what the others are going through, of course it was very overwhelming to experience all of that grief, despair, just no way out, kinds of realities that the wild species in particular are feeling. I then had my internal reaction to that, which was despair and getting really upset. And in a way, that put me on my spiritual path, to find ways to process my reactions to it and to be very clear what was actually the animal's feelings versus what is my own amplification, of that. And I still need to be clear as a channel. So no, I no longer personally feel despair at all. I feel despair of the others, empathically on their behalf. But personally, I don't feel despair. I'm not bummed out about where things are at. I don't think it's a one-way street at all. I don't project into the future with Armageddon scenarios. I take such delight in the life that is available, shining through the eyes of any being that I meet. And in that light and in that moment, wonderful things are possible. So projecting future scenarios doesn't feel so helpful.
again, it's right back to being present and what we as the human can do right now, today, to be in right relationship with our environment.